Good morning, children. Today is the first lesson of mathematics of this session 2020-21. First of all, welcome students to class 9th. The first chapter that we are going to study in this 9th class is number system. You all must be too much scared that how will be this 9th class and that too mathematics, because every student has got a phobia regarding mathematics. So children, I'm telling, don't be scared. Mathematics is a very interesting subject. It requires a little patience and practice. And I hope so you all will be comfortable and able to do this. Till now, you people were studying through different modes. Now, that is in the classroom with the help of a chalk duster, and in an e-classroom with a PPT and an e-board, interactive board. But due to certain circumstances, we all are here to use this online mode. I hope slowly you will be comfortable, because we are not to waste a single minute. So, let us be comfortable. This is a first chance for you people to study on online mode, and for me also, this is first time I am on this platform to teach you through this online mode. So children, you had a very comfortable journey from class 1 to class 8. Now, this term number is a very simple and a very familiar term for you people. Suppose you are asked to just count the things around you. You start with 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. That is the natural numbers. Till now, you have studied about natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, but the two new things that you will be learning, and all will be correlated with each other, that is the irrational numbers and the real numbers. Children, it is very interesting topic, because you are familiar with numbers. So I hope so you will be familiar with the number system also, the real numbers. So let us start. And you are seeing on the screen there are some alphabets written here. That is, the natural numbers are represented by N, the whole numbers are represented by W, the integers are represented by Z, the rational numbers are represented by Q, the irrational numbers and the real numbers are represented by R. Coming to the set of natural numbers, the most comfort zone for you people. That is, you are asked to write the natural numbers. You start writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So remember, the term natural numbers will be represented by the symbol N. I am making you familiar about this term, and I am using the word set here because after 9th and 10th, see, class 10th is almost completely dependent on class 9th. the extension of class 9th you will have in class 10th also. So after 10th, for 11th you will be having the term set theory, and there you will be requiring particular symbols. So I am just making you familiar about the symbols that will be used. Now when you are having the natural numbers, the set of natural numbers, we have the 4 basic operations, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. It is very simple to add 2 natural numbers. For example, we are considering one natural number 1 and one 5. 1 plus 5 come to be 6. 1 plus 100, 101. So when you are adding 2 natural numbers, the result is again a natural number. Now coming to the subtraction part. If you are subtracting a natural number, one natural number from another. So let us consider a very simple example, that is 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 is a natural number. So let us consider the reverse. Let 5 be subtracted from 1. 1 minus 5. Started thinking, what is the result? It is not present in this group of numbers. Let us subtract same number from itself, that is 5 minus 5, 2 minus 2, 3 minus 3. So all must be getting the answer, that is 0. Yes, you are right, 0. But this is not there in the natural numbers. So from here originated the set of whole numbers. Set of whole numbers is represented by W, and if you are asked to define the set of whole numbers, it is including 0 in the family of natural numbers make the set of whole numbers. When we are considering the operations on whole numbers, we are subtracting a greater number from a smaller number. You people started thinking. Just few minutes ago, I asked what will be the answer for 1 minus 5. It is minus 4. So here we have got some negative natural numbers. Now these negative natural numbers and the positive natural numbers, including 0, combine and form the set of integers. We will have all the properties for integers as well. You have studied about the properties also of integers in class 7th. For natural numbers and whole numbers, you studied in class 6th. The properties were closure property, commutative property, associative property, distributive property, identity element, and all these same properties we had for rational numbers also. Now you must be thinking, what are rational numbers? So rational numbers have basically originated from fractional numbers. You studied in class 6th about fractions. 1 upon 2 is a fraction, 3 upon 4 is a fraction, that is 1 out of 2, 3 out of 4. These all are fractional numbers. Here both the numerator and the denominator are positive. But what will happen if any one is negative? For example, minus 2005 upon 2006. If you put all such numbers also into the bag, it will now be the collection of rational numbers. So you keep on having all such kind of numbers. So here the rational numbers are represented by Q. We have all the properties as we had for whole numbers, natural numbers, integers. We have for rational numbers also. You have studied in class 8. And even it was defined the meaning of rational number in class 8. A number is called a rational number if it can be written in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. In this way, you can frame many numbers in the form of P upon Q, that is 1 upon 5, 10 upon 9, 6 upon 4, 8 upon 15. Now the rational numbers, let us consider some questions from your exercise given in your NCERT textbook. Listen children, as there is total lockdown outside, when this online class is over, these videos will always be available on this site. So you people can just pause and complete your notebooks of the given exercises. So let us discuss some questions from your exercise. The first question comes to be, is 0 a rational number? Can you write it in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0? The answer comes to be yes. 0 is a rational number because it can be written in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. Accordingly, 0 can be represented as 0 upon 1, 0 upon 2, 0 upon 3, etc. And here you can use also the denominator as a negative integer. Now question number 2 is, find 6 rational numbers between 3 and 4. Now when you represent on a number line, you have the numbers 3 and 4. You must be thinking how to write the numbers in between them. As you know that there are indefinite numbers in between two given numbers, and we are to write just 6 rational numbers. So I am just giving you an example. You have to write 6 rational numbers between 3 and 4. So what you will do is 6 plus 1 comes to be 7. So we will make equivalent fractions of 3 upon 1. See, 3 is a natural number, 3 is a whole number, 3 is a decimal number, it can be written as 3.0, and this is also a fractional number, or you can say the rational number. It can be written as 3 upon 1. Now making equivalent fractions, 3 upon 1 can be written as 21 upon 7 by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by 7. Coming to 4. 4 can be written as 4 upon 1. Now making a rational number equivalent fraction of 4 upon 1, it will become 28 upon 7 by multiplying the numerator and denominator by 7. This comes to be 28 upon 7. Now you are to write 6 rational numbers between 3 and 4. 3 is written as 21 upon 7 and 4 is written as 28 upon 7. Now you can write all the denominators having 7. We can write the numbers as 22 upon 7, 23 upon 7, 24 upon 7, 25 upon 7, 26 upon 7 and 27 upon 7. In this way, you can find as many as numbers in between two given rational numbers. Now let us calculate 5 rational numbers between 3 upon 5 and 4 upon 5. The method is the same. You will frame equivalent fraction of 3 upon 5. So let us make an easy change in the calculation. That is, let us multiply the numerator and denominator by 10. You can multiply by any number to form equivalent fractions. As in the previous case, I told you that 6 numbers had to be calculated. So we added 1 and that becomes 6 plus 1 is equal to 7, and we multiplied the numerator and denominator by 7. For this, we can also use the method as 5 rational numbers are to be calculated. So add 1 to 5, that comes to be 6. You can multiply the numerator and denominator of 3 upon 5 by 6 and get the numbers in between. I am telling you one of the method. As you know, in mathematics, any question can be solved in many methods, but the approach should be right. So what you will do is 3 upon 5, let us multiply the numerator and denominator by 10. So this comes to be 3 upon 5 comes to be 30 upon 50. And the equivalent fraction 4 upon 5 can be converted as 40 upon 50. Now we want to find 5 rational numbers between 3 upon 5 and 4 upon 5. So having the denominators as 50, you can write the counting from between 30 and 40. You will get 9 numbers, that is 31, 32, 33 till 39. You can select any of the 5 and write the 5 rational numbers in between. As I told you, there are different methods, different approaches. Now I am telling you one more approach for this. You have to calculate 5 rational numbers. So let us have 5 plus 1, that is 6. So we are framing equivalent fraction, that is 3 upon 5. We are multiplying numerator and denominator by 6. So this 3 upon 5 multiplying by 6 comes to be 18 upon 30. And 4 upon 5, when we are multiplying the numerator and denominator by 6, this comes to be 24 upon 30. So this can also be written as 5 rational numbers between 3 upon 5 and 4 upon 5 as 19 upon 30, 20 upon 30, 21 upon 30, 22 upon 30 and 23 upon 30. There is one more method. We can proceed as per this method, that is 2 numbers are given, 3 upon 5 and 4 upon 5. So we will add these two and divide by 2. That is 3 upon 5 plus 4 upon 5 comes to be 7 upon 5. And you will divide by 2, it comes to be 7 upon 10. And in this way, you will find in between numbers using the formula r plus s upon 2 and you will be getting the required answer. Now coming to the fourth question of your exercise, state whether the following statements are true or false. Give reasons for your answer. The first question is, every natural number is a whole number. The answer is true, since the collection of whole numbers start with 0. That is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. And set of natural number start with 1. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until infinity. So we find that all the natural numbers come in the set of whole numbers. I hope so. This concept is clear to you all. Now coming to the second part. Every integer is a whole number. Just think over. It will be false. Why? Because in whole number we don't have negative values, but in integers we have got negative values also. Therefore, all integers are not whole numbers, only some integers are whole numbers. Coming to the third part, every rational number is a whole number. This is absolutely true, because all the rational numbers can be written in the form of P upon Q, and they will be present in the set of whole numbers. But some will not be there. Hence the resultant is false, because every rational number is, some are in the form of a whole number, others are written in the form of fractions. So fractions, for example 5 upon 2, this on conversion will get a decimal number, but 10 upon 2 will be 5, that will be a whole number. Hence the answer for the third part, that is every rational number is a whole number, is false. Hope so you people have understood this exercise 1.1. It was a very simple exercise, and this is just to make you people comfortable, slowly comfortable to class 9th. You had a long journey to class 8th. Now we are slowly making you comfortable so that you don't have any phobia regarding mathematics in class 9th. And listen to people, from the first day itself you prepare a home timetable, and mathematics, you know that it is the backbone of all the subjects. It requires a lot of practice. Every day at least 1 hour you have to write and practice whatever you have studied to score good marks in maths. So coming to the new topic, that is irrational numbers. Because the chapter is number system, gradually we are proceeding from the set of natural numbers to the set of real numbers. Previously we have studied about rational numbers, and when you are representing the rational numbers on a number line, and as you know, a number line has got indefinite number of points available on it. Some are rational numbers. You must be thinking that what are these numbers in between? So these in between numbers had a topic of discussion in the ancient mathematicians, and they were named as irrational numbers. So from the term itself, it describes the numbers which are not rational. They are called irrational numbers. And the numbers which are rational, as you people know that it is written in the form of P upon Q, where Q is not equal to 0. The Pythagoreans in Greece, followers of famous mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras, were the first to discover the numbers which were not rationals around 400 BC. These numbers are called irrational numbers, or you can say only irrationals, because they cannot be written in the form of a ratio of integers. There are many myths surrounding the discovery of irrational numbers by the Pythagorean Hipparchus of Croton. In all the myths, Hipparchus has an unfortunate end, either for discovering that root 2 is irrational or for disclosing the secret about root 2 to people outside the secret Pythagorean sect. Now coming to the definition of irrational number. Now listen one thing. Whenever we are starting a topic, we require certain facts and definitions, and from the starting of the session itself, make a separate notebook which will include definitions and the working rule for that particular topic. And this notebook will be very helpful for you people for the quick revision before your exams. And when you were in class 8th, you had 2 terms and a separate syllabus for both the terms. And even in the test, for example in PT1 we had certain chapters, then in PT2 we had certain chapters. In half yearly we had the first half chapters that we had included in the syllabus. But in class 9th the system is little different. We will be having a cumulative approach in the first pre-midterm exam. See, there will be basically 3 tests. In that, the pre-midterm test, you will be having the first chapters whatever we are going to study the date decided for the pre-midterm test. Then in the midterm test, again from the first chapter till the chapter you have been studying, means every time the first chapter will be included. So the notebook that I am telling for you to make from the session starting itself of definitions and the working rule will be helpful here. So now coming to the point, irrational numbers. A number is called an irrational number if it cannot be written in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. Let us consider some perfect squares. The squares table, that is 2 square is equal to 4, 3 square is equal to 9, 4 square is equal to 16. Now let us consider the square root of all these numbers. Right, for the natural numbers starting with 1, square root of 1, square root of 2, square root of 3, and coming to square root of 4, it comes to be 2, then square root of 5, square root of 6, square root of 7, and square root of 9 is again 3. So we are finding the numbers which are perfect squares and we are considering the square root form. They come to be rational numbers, and the rest are irrational numbers which were not the perfect squares. So from here originated the set of irrational numbers. The numbers which are not rational are called irrational, and pi, that is 22 upon 7. Now you must be thinking that all were these under root signs, and where is this pi come from in between? Here comes the concept of decimals, that is the terminating decimals and the non-terminating decimals. In class 7th you have studied how to convert a fractional number into a decimal number. So out of those decimal numbers which are terminating, so on dividing we get the remainder as 0. They are terminating decimals, and for which we don't get the remainder 0, there are 2 sets. One is non-terminating number with repeating numbers, and non-terminating number with non-recurring numbers. And such numbers, the terminating ones are all rational numbers. The non-terminating with repeating decimals are rational numbers. In other exercises we will be proceeding in 1.3 onwards, we will be converting the non-terminating repeating decimals as rational numbers, and the rest, which are non-terminating and non-repeating, they are called irrational numbers. Now we have a huge bag here collected. You must be seeing here on the screen, that is R, the set of real numbers. And at last we have captured all the numbers in this big huge set. The collection of all rational numbers and irrational numbers together make up the collection of real numbers. Now real numbers were basically defined by these German mathematicians named R. Dedekind and G. Conter in the year 1870, showed that corresponding to every real number there is a point on the real number line, and corresponding to every point on the number line there exists a unique real number. So in this way we can conclude that on a number line we have got indefinite number of points, and each point is either a rational number or an irrational number, and all these rational numbers and irrational number combine and form the set of real numbers. So real numbers are the huge collection. Now how to represent these irrational numbers on number line? Let us start with the simplest form, that is root 2. Representation of root 2 on a number line, we will be making use of Pythagoras theorem here. So as you can see on the screen, we have got a square OABC. Each has got the side 1 centimeter, and OB is the diagonal. As it is the square, each angle is of the corner is of 90 degree, and hence using the Pythagoras theorem, OB, the diagonal, is given by square root of 1 square plus 1 square, that comes to be square root of 2. Now making use of this concept on the number line, here we are representing, see the number line, 0 is located in the middle, and one side, that is the right side, we have got the positive natural numbers, and on the left side we have got the negative natural numbers. And let us consider the 0. 0 as the point O as shown above on the square, and the distance between O and A is 1. So we are drawing a perpendicular AB and keeping the distance AB as 1, joining OB, we get the distance between O to B as root 2, making use of the concept of the square as I told you using the Pythagoras theorem. Now when you are drawing, constructing this in your notebook, what you do is you take the rounder, keep it at O, the pointer at O, and pencil at B, make an arc, and this arc intersect from B, intersects the number line at point P, and this point P is root 2. Similarly, we can represent root 3 on number line. So in the previous slide, I had made it clear how to draw and represent root 2 on the number line. So we had the distance OP, that is root 2. Now on drawing a perpendicular on BD, on B, that is BD, and taking the distance 1 and joining O to D, that comes to be square root of 3. Why? Because root 2 square is equal to 2 and 2 plus 1 is equal to square root of 2. Now keep the pointer at O and the pencil at D and make an arc. This arc intersects the number line at Q, and this Q is root 3. Now to represent root 5 on the number line, the concept used here will be, you will have the distance between 0 and 2, and you are drawing a perpendicular wherever there is point 2 located. Draw a perpendicular, take a distance 1. Now again using Pythagoras theorem, in this right angle triangle you have square root of 2 square plus 1 square, that is square root of 4 plus 1, that is square root of 5. In this way you can represent square root of 5 on the number line. Now how to form a square root spiral? Listen children, this is the first activity, because you people know that mathematics, you have to draw, you have to make a lab activity notebook also, and we are going to do everything practically, so that you find more interest by doing and learning these activities. The mathematical concepts will be more clear to you people. So the first activity that you have to do in your lab activity notebook, this has got separate marks for some subject enrichment. So do it very carefully. So how to construct a square root spiral? So let us mark a point O on the plain sheet of paper. Take a point P1 at a distance 1 from O. Join this OP1. On OP1 draw a perpendicular. You can use the set square to draw the perpendicular here directly if you want to do. Then take a distance of 1 unit as you had considered here for OP1, and OP2 is again 1 unit. Right angle triangle. So OP2 is square root of 2. Now on this OP2 you will drop a perpendicular, that is P2 P3, and join P3 with O. Again this becomes a right angle triangle, and using Pythagoras theorem, this distance OP3 is square root of 3. Now on P3 drop a perpendicular, make a point P4, distance is 1 unit, join O to P4 and you will get root 4. In this way you can construct as many as again ending till the point O we had started. So this is a square root spiral. So let us come to some fractions, and I had previously discussed regarding these recurring and non-terminating, recurring and non-terminating, non-recurring expansions. So we are considering some rational numbers, some decimal expansions of some rational numbers. On the screen you can see 1 upon 3. When you are converting 1 upon 3 as decimals, it comes to be 0.333 and so on. We are going to use here 0.3 bar. So this is a non-terminating and a recurring decimal. Afterwards I'll tell you how to convert them into rational numbers. Now let us consider 1 upon 7. 1 upon 7 on dividing, we get 0.142857, and again that 1 is starting 142857. So these set of numbers are repeated again and again. So this is a non-terminating recurring decimal. This can also be converted into a rational number. We will be studying further in this chapter. But the decimal expansion of an irrational number is non-terminating and non-recurring. For example, look at root 2. You know how to calculate root 2. We had studied in class 8. So by this calculation, we have 1.414213562373 and so on. Pi, that is 22 upon 7, this can be written as 3.141592653 and so on. So on the basis of this, let us start exercise 1.2. The first question here is, state whether the following statements are true or false and justify your answer. Every irrational number is a real number. It is extremely true, since all the rational numbers and irrational numbers together make up all the collection of real numbers. Number 2, every point on the number line is in the form of square root of m. This is false, because the square root of any natural number is always positive and can never be negative. Now number 3 is, every real number is an irrational number. It is false, because real numbers includes both rational and irrational number. So every real number cannot be an irrational number. Now coming to question number 2, are the square roots of all positive integers irrational? If not, give an example of the square root of a number that is a rational number? The answer for this is no. The square root of all positive integers cannot be irrational. For example, consider square root of 4. 4 is a perfect square, so it can be written as square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4. So here we have got some positive integers which are rational numbers, and their square roots are, for example, the square roots of 4, 9 and 16, they come to be rationals. And we have already represented square root of 5 on number line. Now students, we have learnt about the number system starting from natural numbers till irrational numbers and the real numbers. Hope you people have understood, and if you have any queries, you can write on the comment box given, and after the video is complete, the online class is complete, this video will be stored. Even if you are not able to understand at any point, you can again go through the video to understand the key points. You can pause the video and note down to the important definitions in your notebook. Start maintaining your notebook right from the beginning so that you people understand each and everything step by step. So please comment, like and share the given video. So have a nice stay at home and learn with full enthusiasm. So thank you very much.
Okay.